Hi everyone, I'm Sean Buckley, Chief Revenue Officer at SpotX.
And I'm Scott Rosenberg. I lead the ad business at Roku, which is both ad sales and our platform work.
We just finished up our discussion, our town hall discussion on the convergence of traditional television and OTT. Quite an exciting discussion. Actually, the two sessions were a little bit different in terms of context. We started both discussions by sort of setting the stage, the aging demographic in terms of traditional TV, with the vast majority of viewers now aging out of the 18 to 49 demographic, while sort of younger viewers are spending fewer and fewer hours watching traditional TV. With that being said, TV still controls the vast majority of the ad budgets, as well as the vast majority of the time spent via media usage for the average adult. And so we started to address the audience demographics that are seen in OTT.
Yeah, I think the excitement level in the sessions was very high. We were standing room only in the first session, and we talked about what users are doing with their TV time. On Roku, we have 13 million active households, and our usage is growing roughly 40% year over year in terms of active accounts, but over 70% in terms of actual time spent. So what we're seeing is more and more time spent in OTT. I think it's just a signal of where consumers want to spend their time. And I think the energy in the town halls were really strong, because people see this happening to their buys or their sales, depending on what side of the business they're on, and really want to get in front of it and understand OTT better.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about just the product development. I mean, are we talking about consumers actually changing their behavior? Meaning, I used to watch my local news on traditional TV, and now I'm watching it via an OTT device. Or is it in fact an entirely new age demographic that's coming into the spotlight for advertisers that's looking for a totally different experience? We then moved on to sort of the state of OTT services. Currently a $25 billion market, which is nothing to scoff at, but obviously a small fraction of the global opportunity. And we spent a lot of time on bundles. How is the consumer experience going to look? Is it really going to be sort of a la carte content consumption, or some of the new products coming to market, bundling content together, going to be more prominent? We actually heard a little bit about personalized bundles and customized bundles as well from the audience.
Yeah, our first session we spent a lot of time on that topic, and people were very interested in whether the bundle would stay in its current composition or would change. And I think the general consensus was that the bundle still provides a lot of value, but that the bundle is going to come in a lot more variety than it has historically, and that the consumer is empowered and going to opt into a different set of packages over time.
Yeah, we discussed a lot about VOD versus sort of the live linear experience. And certainly OTT can no longer be classified just as VOD. And it's also really kind of inappropriate to say OTT versus linear TV, given the live linear offering available through OTT is now becoming more and more available. That's a market that's slated to grow from $1 billion to close to $7 billion by 2021. And so obviously you shared a lot of insights in terms of what you're seeing on the Roku platform.
Yeah, linear does very well on Roku. It's still a minority of viewership, but certainly with the advent of these over-the-top bundles from folks like Sling, PS View, DirecTV, Hulu's got a package they're bringing to the table, we see a pretty significant uptick in linear consumption over the top. And to your point, we had an interesting discussion in the second session about definitions. The IAB has put out an OTT white paper, I think done very well. Explaining the distinction and what we mean by OTT and connected TV. And I think there was general agreement in the second session that OTT means something that's streamed over the internet but lands on the big screen in your living room. Did you feel the same?
Totally.
Okay. There's a little bit of a hot debate for a while.
And you could tell there was some uncertainty about the space, just a little bit of lack of familiarity, and perhaps that has some influence into how budgets are allocated. We obviously addressed the topic that traditional TV in the US is still north of a $70 billion ad business, whereas digital video as a whole is still sub $9 billion. Wanted to talk about, given the opportunity with OTT, sort of addressability on every ad opportunity, precision targeting capabilities, what is it that would really sort of drive the momentum in terms of either shifting those dollars or just growing the overall pool of dollars that are available on the ad side with OTT.
Yeah, and we spent some time talking about measurement as well. We had folks from Nielsen in the room joining us, and there was a nice discussion about the fluidity of investment between OTT and new platforms like OTT and traditional TV. And I think one of the conclusions was that the ability to have a common currency, the ability to have Nielsen measuring across both sets of media was important in order to kind of open the dam and allow monies to flow between the two.
Yeah, I think we closed it out with just a little talk around sort of content syndication across different environments in terms of where, for example, the millennial audience is viewing their content, whether it's on Snapchat or another platform like that, and how that influences content producers in terms of what the experience is for the consumer, content length, even vertical video. We got into a little bit of detail about that as well.
I think one topic that we also got into, and particularly appropriate for for SpotX and the relationship that Roku has SpotX, is the role of programmatic in OTT. It's certainly still early days for programmatic, but I think there was general consensus in both town halls that programmatic is an important new tool in your toolbox for sales teams. Generally, folks were talking primarily about private sales, but using programmatic pipes to facilitate smarter transactions. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. I think there was a general consensus that was the way the market is moving, obviously early days. And we even touched on the sort of integration of programmatic into direct sales, where it's no longer direct sales versus programmatic.
Right.
It's just an additional tool, a different transaction method that direct sellers can leverage in talking with their buyers.
Right. Cool. It was a great session. We had a good time.
It was an awesome time. Thank you to the IAB for hosting.